Artistro watercolor set. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Artistro watercolor set. It's changed a little bit since some of the other reviews I've seen on this little paint kit. And let's see what's inside. So first of all, we have that watercolor paper there. A little 10-pack came of some nicely textured watercolor paper. It seemed to be a little different than the watercolor paper seen in the other videos, where they explain that one side of the paper was smooth. This paper is textured on both sides. They sent us a little sticker, which has a white background. It's not a clear background, which I thought was a weird choice. But either way, cute sticker. These are the swatches of the colors, which I didn't find to be totally accurate, but in any case, there's a nice little cover there to put on your paints. So we have the pen, the watercolor pen that fills up with water. There is a little 2B sketch pencil there with a sharpener, a cheap little watercolor brush, a drawing eraser. Let's put that all back in there. Now, I usually use a big mop brush, but I did use this watercolor brush that fills up with water. It's pretty cool, especially if you're, out and about. If you want to take it with you to the beach or wherever you might live, get out in nature and you want to take your watercolors with you, it is very handy to not have to have a little cup of water there. There's a sponge in the kit, so you can use that to clean the tip of your brush off. Or you can take a towel with you. I know a lot of people use paper towels. I prefer the, just using a washcloth and washing it. It is conservative. It's environmentally friendly. But anyway, so these paints, I saw some mixed reviews. I watched a review from, I'd call her like a cottage watercolor person, I guess. It seems to me that that's mostly what she does. It's just watercolor and probably some like journaling and stuff like that. I don't know. So she tried these paints out and didn't like that they were very thirsty. They did take a lot of water, but not enough that it bothered me at all. She said they were very grainy. I didn't find that to be the case. And these pigment, you can see here, they do soak up that water pretty quick, more so than like your standard watercolor. So then I watched another girl, I believe her name was, I think it was Happy D Paints, and she made a remarkable painting with these. I watched that right after I watched the cottage watercolor person. And I said, oh my gosh, your success with these paints is really going to depend upon your capacity to be flexible and, apply your skills to different mediums. So me, for instance, I just picked up watercoloring within the last year. I've always been an oil painter. I started with acrylics, but really did prefer oil for most of the time. And now I actually prefer acrylic again. But watercolor, it's not my go-to, but it's really, if you want the emotional kind of feeling to be conveyed, I think that watercolors really portray, emotions very well. Because of the translucence and the drips and just the different techniques that you can use with it. I love the translucence of it and your ability to layer the colors. So I'm going to do, I think, a portrait with these paints very soon to show what can be done with them. I wouldn't consider myself a master watercolor painter by any means, but I'm pretty good with them. I've got the basics down, and I love painting. So really, your success is dependent upon how flexible you are with different mediums. So if you just love art, if you use markers, if you love different kinds of paint, I've seen some other guy on TikTok who I really love, and I feel sad right now that I can't remember his name, but he did an amazing masterpiece with Crayola crayons. If you can make beautiful art with Crayola crayons, then you should be able to make beautiful art out of these paints. These are decent quality paints. The cottage watercolor lady, she was very upset with these paints and didn't have a lot of good things to say about them. She said, I guess if you're just beginning, or if you can't afford something better. This kit was like $25, and for even the tin is awesome. I really like it. I like the bright colors. It's got the neons. It's got 4 neon colors there on the bottom of the yellow, green, blue, and orange. And then next to that, it's got these metallics. And I've never painted with metallic watercolor before. It's phenomenal to be able to add that different effect. I wouldn't use it for the main painting, but definitely for some accents, or just, a little sparkle here or there. I think it's really awesome to have those metallic watercolors in there, and you'll get an up close of them here in a little bit. Super sparkly. The gold is a little more translucent than the others, but it's also the lightest. Yellow. Yellows tend to be on the thinner side, but look at that sparkle. I just love it. I love the fact that I can just grab this kit, and take either my watercolor journal or that little pad of paper that they sent and just go wherever and be able to bust out a painting wherever I am. That's amazing. Where I live, I'm here on a beautiful island in the Pacific Northwest, really super heavily wooded. We've got some old growth on some parts of the island. Just down the road from me, there's a state park, and I love to go there and sit at the beach and just see this big wall of pine trees behind me with the egrets and the eagles and everything. There's so much beauty around here to paint. And to have this little kit that I can just take with me, pop it open, and start making art, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I recommend it. Unless you're super persnickety about what you use, I would say go for it. And they didn't send me this kit like everybody else I saw that reviewed it. The Artistro sent them the kit and asked them to review it. I just bought this because it was sitting in my cart for a few months. I was kind of a paint snob. Most of my life I've been kind of a paint snob. I only want to use the best brands. But honestly, this tin, I thought it was so pretty. And I'm just one of those people that's drawn to pretty things. And so I had it sitting in my Amazon shopping cart for months. And then I was making a big purchase one day. And it's like, it's just sitting there. Why not? Why not just try it, right? I'm spending all this money on everybody else. I might as well get myself something. And I'm so glad that I did. I think it's pretty kick-ass. Art supplies are just fun. It's fun to collect different things to make cool looking stuff with. I like pastels, watercolor, markers, Posca pens, whatever you can get and try out. Just, see what it does. That's what art's all about, right? I remember I hated in school when I went to art school. All I want to do is oil paint. I'm like, I don't care about this other stuff. I don't want to do installations. I don't want to do 3D art. Just let me do what I want to do. But creation is really about taking what you've got, right? It's about taking what you've got and creating something that means something, at least to you. Who cares if it means anything to anybody else? But if it means something to you, you've succeeded. And to be able to do that with just anything, that's a true artist, I think. Not just somebody that can, draw a perfect line or make a perfect oil painting portrait. I don't think that's what artistry is. An artist is a creative person that can make something out of nothing with whatever tools they're given. And these are some pretty awesome tools. And the brush, you know, I like the big mop brush. And this little brush, it's acrylic tipped. It was clear. It stained a little green there because I like messing with the greens. Anyway, it's acrylic tip. It's got a beautiful point to it. You know, you've kind of really got to move it around to get a space filled in. But as far as like a brush that's going to keep its point, that's a good brush. I don't really have any complaints about this. I just wish I had more time to paint, really. Isn't that what we all want? Just more time to do what we want to do. That's what life's all about. Finding whatever it is that you really love to do. And getting lost in that space of creation. Where you're just kind of in the flow. That's when magic happens. Even just doing this kind of stuff, filling in boxes, there's comfort in wetting that paint, you know, and soaking up some paint on that brush and spreading it out on the paper. It's satisfying. It feels good. And the vibrancy of these colors is just beautiful. So if you've seen those other reviews and you were like, oh man, her painting didn't look too good with these brushes or with these paints, I wouldn't really blame it on the paints. You know what I mean? I'd be like, well, what else has that lady painted? Let me see what her painting looks like with other paints. And go back and look. And I think you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe it's not the paint. You know what I mean? I know I was young and broke at one point in my life for a long time, you know, so I know $25 for a tin of watercolors might be a stretch for some people. But if you're in the market and you want a travel kit, oh, my cat's in the road. Asher! It's pouring rain and he's just walking in the road like nobody cares. Anyway, if you've got $25 and you want to try out a really cool travel watercolor kit, I'd say go for it. You know, you might want a little pan on the side to mix your colors in. I tend to like a pan. But you know, maybe you don't need one. I would probably take one. I would probably take a pan with me if I was going to sit down and do some real legit painting. But otherwise, this thing has everything you need. I hope you got something useful out of this video. I'm going to be making more. Hopefully doing some live painting and drawing here soon. So if you're interested, give me a subscribe and a like. And I'll hit you up when I got something. Take it easy. Bye.